Hey everyone, welcome back to another devlog. Today we're actually going to be talking about two different games. One, the Fall of Aether Station, and then a different game that I've kind of been drafting out, ready to start talking about and getting developed. But first, let's stick with the Fall of Aether Station. So the first month is done, went pretty well. We had a sale last weekend and doing pretty good actually, surprising for a first game here. I don't know what I really expected as far as sales to go, but it went pretty well. We hit the milestone of a little over 200 units moved, and that has me pretty excited. I really didn't expect to sell more than 100 on a first game, and I was ready to jump right into the next game. With how much interest people are showing and the reviews are good, I'm kind of happy to keep working on it. I got a few more things I want to add into the game, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. First things that people have been asking for quite a bit is a surrender button. So now you can kind of bail out of a run that isn't going so well early on, or if you feel like you got enough upgrade points and you don't really care about going for the end of it and seeing how it plays out, you can just surrender, take the points that you've gotten, go use your upgrades and get right back into it. The other is saving and loading, so now after each defeated wave the game will autosave, and then if you exit the game, it crashes, or for whatever reason you're unable to get to either a win or a loss, it will let you load back in right where you were at. There's still a few weird things I gotta work out, but it works now. It's in the game. It just shows the wrong level at the start, but it will jump into the right level. I definitely thought that saving and loading would be harder to fix, but turns out I'm just dumb and forgot to change the name of a variable on the loading part of things. So it works now. And then the biggest thing, the first negative review we really got had a lot to talk about balance and how the game really flowed, and I totally agreed with what the review said. So I spent the last couple weeks working on balancing and readjusting everything to make the game flow a little bit better, and I'm a lot happier with where things are at. The biggest issue that needed to be solved is players just had way too much energy, and losing a ship didn't really feel impactful. It's like, oh, I lost that ship, I can replace it immediately, that's fun. And that's not really how I wanted it to go. I want losing a ship to actually feel like something. The bigger the ship, the bigger the loss it should feel like. I didn't like that I was seeing a lot of players having 20 or 30 battleships on the screen. That just doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel tense or stressful. There's no stakes at that point. So I removed the energy you get from destroying an enemy ship, and I cut back the energy gain per second down to just 1. So this will make getting new ships take a little bit. It will also mean that losses hurt, and you actually need to save up for that bigger vessel in order to be able to take on higher waves. I also reduced the cost of a couple things, increased the starting energy a little bit, so now you can spawn level 1, no upgrades, with 3 gunboats, pilot those around, or 1 light destroyer. Along with this balance update, I found a new way to really look at the waves, because I reduced the difficulty of the waves by a lot to match with this energy change and ship damage rebalancing. And that was looking at the amount of HP per second that is being spawned into the level, and using that as kind of a measure for how difficult the wave or the level is going to be, and increasing that as we go on into the later levels. This seemed to work a lot more because you're only going to get so much DPS out of the ships without upgrades. So starting off, making sure that the waves weren't producing so much HP that you couldn't possibly defeat all of them before they got to the station, because there's no way you had the DPS to do it. So I needed to rebalance that. I also looked at the pacing and tried to make a little bit more of an ebb and flow and gradual increase, and I'm looking more at the amount of DPS that spawns from the enemies in a wave, so that way you don't get overrun. But if there is a wave that's supposed to be a lot higher DPS, you have a wave or two to kind of recover. I've been looking at Bloons TD for this a little bit too, with how's the pacing work there, and putting in like plateaus where it doesn't actually get more difficult for a little bit. And the intent with those in my head is that you're building up a fleet, that you're not getting lazy, but if you do get lazy, you're going to get caught when that big wave comes up. You won't know at the first run, but hopefully players are staying on their toes and getting prepared for everything. You'll definitely know at the second run though. Alright, the other big thing that I'm looking at is a future expansion. I'm not going to do a paid DLC. It's going to be free. I want to get it out in the next month or two here, and what that's going to have is an endless mode. So after the original 60 waves are defeated, the end will have an endless mode that'll just see how many overtime waves you can go. You won't get any extra upgrade points for this, but it'll go on forever to see how well you can last with your current fleet. The idea that I'm going is with that HP per second thing, but I'm gonna allot AI a certain amount of like HP budget it can spawn. And with that, then it's gonna take a look at what your fleet composition is, how well its last wave did, and kind of make some predictions based on how you're playing and try and craft a fleet that can defeat what you're doing. I think this will make it a little bit more responsive, it'll be a little bit more fun. It'll also be interesting to see what the AI does. That's going to take a little while to flesh out, but I also want to get like the base balance working properly before I go too far into that. So that's coming up, along with I want to add some new enemy ships, some new allied ships, and I'm going to be adding some enemy stations along the way that will be there from the start and can upgrade themselves and spawn in small ships that you would have to defeat, so you can leave it there and let it level up over time, or you can take it out right away in a more risky maneuver and prevent the headache later down the road. Not entirely sure how that's going to be implemented right now or what I'm going to do to balance that out a little bit, but I think that's going to make for some interesting, more real-time strategy and decision-making things that you're going to have to do. Some minor things, really just localization. We're going to be adding a Ukrainian and a Spanish localization to the game. So if you know friends that have been holding out for that, or you yourself have been holding out for that, which I don't think you would since you are watching this video, so you probably know how to read and speak English. But that's going to be coming up here soon. So that's kind of cool. Alright, so the second project that I wanted to talk about that I'm going to start showing off here is I'm working on a 2D platformer. I know some of you have seen my first entry in the series of So I Played, where I played Celeste and talked about my experience there. And I want to get some experience with different popular platformer games. So I'm playing a bunch, getting some research in, and then I'm starting to make my own. So you can see a little bit of what I've done here. I want it to be fast, I want it to be pretty accurate, but I don't think it needs to be pixel perfect. That's not really what I'm going for, though it will probably be pixel graphics, more or less. I'm not exactly sure where this is gonna go or what's the theming gonna be around it, but I want it to be a little bit more challenging, very high speed, very smooth, get that feeling of coolness going on in the game. That's really where I'm at. If you guys have suggestions for moves, or if you want to jump over on the Discord, I published one test, but I'll probably be publishing more over there and letting the Discord members check out what it's like to play it and giving me feedback. So if you're interested in doing that, hop on over to the Discord and download what I got so far, and you can help develop this new game. Something else that I've been working on is a audio reflection system, and I know this is a project number 3. I didn't tell you about this one in the beginning, so bonus for sticking around towards the end. So you get to see some footage here of this reflection system where audio bounces around a room. And I have another, like, I think I want to make more of a Metroidvania with this one. So recently I played Hollow Knight. That's going to be I'm going to be making the next episode of So I Played on Hollow Knight and my experience with it. And I'm going to be playing some other Metroidvanias or similar style games with some combat, a lot of exploration, and narrative storytelling. But yeah, this is what I got right now. That platformer project I talked about before, it's really just me testing out making a platformer. I don't want to spend too long on it. Hopefully I can publish it next year. Get it in you guys' hands and see what you think while I work on some other games. Haley and I are working on one together. I'm not going to tell you much about it because it's in the early stages, but I think you guys are going to like it. Alright, that's pretty much it for me. If you guys want to hang out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like this video. You've been here till the end of it, so you probably do like it. And I will see you in 2 weeks with So I Played, and a month with another devlog. Because that's kind of the schedule I'm going to keep. I want to do every 2 weeks a video. One's a devlog, one is a game that I have played and want to talk to you guys about. So, check it out. See you guys later. And, yeah, bye.